When we adopted Micah, there was no indication that he was special needs. It didn't show up until he was probably approaching a year old when we knew he had delays.
We did not know all the issues that he was going to have. And I'm so glad, because I probably would have said, no, I'm not equipped. I can't do this. I have other kids. I'm spent. I didn't sign up for a special needs child. That's not what I signed up for. I don't feel called. And I just wouldn't have, I would have said no. And I would have said no to a huge blessing.
His first signs were things where he couldn't talk. He couldn't control his tongue and things, and so we knew there were some problems. And so we tried to work with him. In fact, his first thing that he learned to say that we could understand was, never mind. Because he knew he couldn't make what was up here come out here, no matter how hard he tried. And we would just hug him, and we would just apologize to him and say, I'm sorry, son. I'm so sorry. We're going to work on this, and we're going to be able to figure this out. And then when he, just before he was 3 years old, is when Micah's behavior started to come out, the other side effect of his fetal alcohol syndrome.
A lot of people don't know what FAS is, fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome, even as of 10 years ago, was not even a hugely educated thing in the medical field. A lot of pediatricians weren't even really familiar with FAS. So I tried to give them a general term, and as they ask more questions, I will go more specific. You know, whether this child's autistic or Asperger's or developmentally delayed, or, you know, brain, and I'll just say brain. And if they're not getting that, I'll say, well, it's brain damage from drugs and alcohol abuse.
He had behaviors that were just unlike anything we had ever seen in a 2-year-old, 3-year-old before. Just tantrums like crazy, out of control, no talking him down. He went to a place where you couldn't communicate with him until it was over.
Personality-wise, I wanted to fix it. If we do this, this, and this, then he'll act like this. We won't have to physically restrain him. We won't have holes in our walls. We won't have to anticipate having a breakdown in the store where you really just want to get a t-shirt that says, I'm not a bad parent, he's special needs.
And that was the start of a two-plus year journey with doctors and tests and everything, trying to say, can you help us help our son? We need to help our son. And when he was 5 years old, we finally met a doctor that helped us get our first huge breakthrough with Micah. That was really a first step in many steps, because the journey's never over.
I've had to realize I can pre-plan and try to control the circumstances and anticipate all I want, but Micah has his own agenda many times, and things that I had never even anticipated, he will pull. And then there are days when I have everything all pre-planned, and then we have a great day, and I realized I was worrying for nothing. Or was I supposed to pre-plan all those things? Was I supposed to anticipate the worst? I've also noticed that when he accomplishes something that is pretty normal for normal kids, it is a huge thing for him, and it means more when he accomplishes it than when all my other kids accomplish it.
He's loved Lego since he was a little kid, just loves to build with them. His fine motor dexterity has been so good, and he sees pieces across the room that he goes, that's what I need right there, and he can put them together. And it's always amazed us. But what he does is, Legos is a comfort place for him, because that is a peaceful time for him. There are no stresses. There are no pulls on him. He's doing what he knows he can do. He enjoys doing, and he sees success in. There's no doubt that Marisa and I having Micah has made us into people we wouldn't be otherwise. But at the same time, there's no doubt that it is the most difficult thing we have ever done, bar none.
It has been a cleansing process to have a child like Micah for me spiritually.
We're only human. It'd be great if we had some point of sanctification where we were endowed with these godly things, and we couldn't have a bad thought, and then we deal with Micah. It doesn't happen that way. We're human like everybody else. We're selfish, and we wrestle with emotions, and we wrestle with not knowing the future, and wanting to know more than we know, and all those kinds of things.
He was at a residential treatment facility, and it's hard either way. When he's here, it's hard, but when he's not here, it's hard. And I think I would go outside, and even that night, I go outside and I just look up at the stars, and I think, Lord, this is too much for me. I think that I would like to resign, and I'd really like to know where I could resign. And yet the other part of me is when he's not here, I feel really empty, and I hurt. And even though he makes my blood pressure rise, he makes me have to take meds sometimes just to cope with who he is and what he brings out and all the stress he causes. When he's not here, even though life has definitely incredibly easier, I still have a loss, and I still hurt because he's my child. He's my child, and I don't ever want to forget that. And I love him, and I always will, and I want the best for him, and I'm honored to be his mother. So I feel like it's an honor that I didn't deserve, and sometimes I don't want, but I do feel honored.